When we are designing user interfaces, in those interfaces there are certain elements that are very important, and we want users to notice those elements first thing, and we create emphasis to those elements so that to draw the user attention to those elements. So we use some techniques to draw user attention, and one of those techniques is size. We use size to create emphasis. So when we have an element that we want users to notice them, we want to draw the user attention, we make that element or those elements, we make them bigger so that users immediately notice them when they come to the screen or to the machine. And in here I made these elements bigger. These are the items that are available for sale. As a customer, you come to these machines because you need to buy something. So this is why that you need to buy, I made it bigger so that you easily spot it. As a business, you want people to be aware of what you are selling. So the first thing you do is you make whatever you are selling, you make it visible to the customer. You make it very visible to the customer. So this is why these items are, this is why I use size to create emphasis around these items. When users come to these machines, the first thing I want them to notice is the items that are available for sale at the machine. So this is why these buttons are larger than the other buttons. Another technique that we use to create emphasis is color. So when users see some contrast, we use contrast colors, bright colors or something to draw attention, to draw the user attention to that particular item or items. So in here again, this is the most important items, so I use the color white to draw attention to these items, because again these items are the most important items in the screen. Users come to these machines because they need these items, and businesses install these machines because they need to sell these items. So this is why I make these items, I use colors to emphasize these items, because I want users to notice these items first thing when they come to the machine. Also, when you select an option, that item becomes highlighted. Another design principle is the Fitz Law. The Fitz Law says that properly arrange elements of the user journey within close distance, so users don't have to travel all around the screen and tap all over the screen. This means that you have to arrange items properly to minimize the amount of time that takes the user to go from one section to the next section, or from one button to the next button. For example, you cannot have one section here and the next section in the other corner, and the other section at the bottom, and the other section in the middle. This will be a very bad experience. You have to properly arrange elements so that users go from one section to the next section in a very natural flow. And this is why, this is the purpose of this law, to ensure a very natural flow. And this is why I use linear flow user experience in my design. As you can notice in this design, linear flow user experience means that users start at the top and they progress their way down to the bottom. Is the natural way of human behavior. When users read something, when users open a book, when users see a page, they scan it from top to bottom or from left to right. So in here, the users come to the machine, they will notice that the first option is pre-selected. Most users speak the English, so if they speak English, they don't have to make a selection. I mean, because English is the native language in this country. In your country it will be the native language of your country, but here it's English. So because I speak the native language of this country, I don't have to make a selection. That means I continue to the next section. I make a selection here, and then I make a selection down here at the bottom. I submit my order with one of these two buttons. The distance from this button to this button is very close. The distance from this button to this button is still very close. And from this button to this button is still close. So the Fitz Law is properly implemented here in this design. And last but not least, notice that the do amount here is at the center. It is centered because I want to be transparent. I want users to notice the do amount. It is an act of transparency. It is a good business practice to show the users how much they will pay. This is why it is the font size is large and the do amount is centered, and it is close to the submit buttons. These two are the submit buttons. So before they hit the submit button, they can see the do amount, how much they will be paying. This is a transparent business practice. As a business, you should always display to the customers how much you will charge them, how much they will pay. By putting the do amount at the top, in a corner at the top, or in a corner at the bottom, or making the font size smaller, that could mean that you are trying to hide something, or you are trying to confuse the customers. If you keep the do amount center, important elements should be centered so that users see them, so that user can easily spot them. This is why this is centered, because I want users to easily spot them, to easily notice them. And I want the do amount to be close to the submit button so that users can double check at the last second, at the last millisecond before pressing any of these two buttons. This is why the do amount is center and close to these two buttons. And these machines need a new interface design. This is not a proper interface design for these machines. These machines need a much simpler interface design. This is the solution. This is a design that offers a much simpler, faster, better customer experience for customers. And I hope people enjoy this design soon. The struggle will be over with this design.